Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. As you can see, the market is having a little bit of a relief rally and most of the tokens are starting to see a bit of recovery times. Yesterday on my Twitter, I gave a massive early call coming from multiple different aspects. In today's video, I'm going to give you an update. So far, we are doing well on the long entry. I want to give you an update on the potential breakout that we have in development on the daily. And yes, guys, the hash ribbons has printed a second capitulation event in a row. I'll explain what it means, whether you need to freak out or if it's actually something good. We'll cover the most important levels of support from different indicators. I'll give an update on the ETF flows. And apart from all those early signals that were telling us that there might be a little bit of relief rally coming in the next few days, there's another buy signal that is brewing up here in the background, and I'm going to explain in detail what to expect for the next days. At the end of the video, we're going to cover where is the liquidity to have some realistic expectations if that bounce played out as we are expecting. We'll cover fair value gaps, liquidity from CoinGlass, trading light. There's some sneaky orders that are being removed at the moment, and I'll share my opinion on what I think is next for the altcoins. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And if you feel like supporting the channel, watch this video until the very end and do not go anywhere without leaving a comment down below. That's really helping the channel to continue growing. And a big shout out because we have a new partnership with Bybit. There's 30,000 in rewards if you decide to use the link down in the description. We have big plans for integrating Bybit into our website. So in the future, you can use the trading volume and the amount that you deposit into Bybit to completely turn a VIP subscription or the higher tiers into zero price. We are working on that as we speak. In the meantime, make sure that you visit the link in the description. For Bybit, open your account, start depositing and trading. Remember that the more trading volume that you have trading with bots or manual trading, the most likely that you are going to be entitled to get one of these tiers for free and for as long as you continue using the Bybit exchange. This is the tweet that I shared yesterday. I said a few stars are aligning on the daily for a wide buy signal. I used 4 different sources from completely different nature that were aligning at the same time into a buy. I'm going to explain a bit more in detail which indicators I'm using for this sort of signals. Number 1, the Crosby ratio, which belongs to lookintobitcoin.com. That one is a paid indicator. They do not have any affiliate program, so I'm just showing it to you because I use it. I find it extremely accurate. When it gets into the green area right here, it tends to have strong bounces. The second signal comes from the TTP Lunar Crash, which is a custom-made script that I gave access to the VIP members in my community that allows me to analyze data coming from socials like the old rank, Galaxy Score, the sentiment. Lunar Crash uses social networks to create an aggregated view not just of the performance of the technicals and the price, but also incorporating elements from socials. And whenever this oscillator gets very high, it means that Bitcoin is very low in the old rank. And when Bitcoin is underperforming during a bull run, that becomes a very strong signal to buy. You can see we have a signal here. It's symbolized by an L and another signal around there. And we are about to get a signal here. Yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised that by today, the signal has already printed. And the third one is the delta of longs and shorts. You can see that in periods like here, there are just too many shorts, and statistically speaking, that is also a buy signal. You can see that we have a delta around there. Unfortunately, this is just a screenshot, but if I scroll back in time, 99% of the times when there is just an exaggerated amount of shorts, there is a strong bounce in the market. And yesterday we were at those levels once again on the daily. You can also use these indicators on lower time frames for scalping, and they give you very, very good signals to enter. It actually triggered once here and it gave another signal in blue here. This is an overextended one. Both of them can be very profitable on any altcoins. And the last one is that on the daily we were here and we already tested the trend line 3 times. So I thought, why not? Given that we have all these other signals, we might break out this trend line potentially today. I also mentioned that if we see a rejection here, we might stay for a little bit longer below this trend line, but I don't see that we are going to continue. The lower we go, the higher the chance that we are going to see eventually some sort of relief move in this area around here of the daily RSI. At the same time, on the 4-hour, we saw this breakout from this trend line that started on the 5th of June, and we have already had multiple touches as well. On the price, it's worth noting that we still haven't had the similar breakout. So potentially, if this RSI on the 4-hour holds above 46, which is currently at 65.3, the chances that we see as well a breakout on the price as well in this manner are quite high. And I'm gonna mention some potential targets if you are interested. I really appreciate if you hit the like so I continue putting out this content for you. The first target is 67.3. That is because we have an order block around here. The second target is 70k, just because there was a huge selling pressure from 70k twice in a row. So coming back out of the blue to that level should be quite challenging. Do not expect to get necessarily straight to 70k, maybe in this vicinity right below might start increasing the risk for a pullback around there as well, if we make it. And if we manage to get to the most aggressive target, we also have an order block at 72k. We're gonna look later into where is the ask liquidity in the order book to see whether we can make it just to the first one, or if we are being completely unrealistic to get it to the second and the third levels. By the way, this candle on the daily obviously hasn't closed, so don't count victory that this breakout on the daily has already happened and that we are going straight to the 56 level. But the fact that we are above it at different times during today, it's telling me that there is an ongoing battle between bulls and bears to defend those levels to the upside. And since there are lots of shorts there, they are risking quite a lot if they cannot manage to dump the price even lower. I'm gonna give you an update on the double top coming from all these divergences. We managed to make that 61% towards the final target of 62.5, but right now we are having bounce on the price, and you can see that this low here is currently holding the price at 66k and not allowing the price to go higher. If we manage to get the price to play out with these 3 different bullish divergences, if we manage to print a slightly higher green candle here and then finally break the structure going above 67, be prepared to get into the top of the range, because that will redefine the structure as a bullish one. And yes guys, we did have a new capitulation signal coming from the hash ribbons. The hash ribbons is a magnificent indicator using on-chain data looking into the capitulation from the miners. We did have a bullish cross, and I told you yesterday, be prepared to see bearish cross on these MAs. That's something that can happen very frequently coming from this indicator. If you go back in time, particularly using the daily time frame, you're gonna find that there can be a couple of capitulation events before seeing the buy signal. And that's precisely what happened today. If we go back into the past, the previous time that we have a buy signal, we also had a capitulation. And that's because on the first capitulation, the price pump that gave us a green, and then it reverted, causing another capitulation. That's because we get a bearish cross right there. That doesn't necessarily mean that we won't get a buy signal. The previous time that we had a buy was a pretty crappy signal because there was a drawdown of 15% followed by an upside of 150, because we went from 25k to almost 74k following after this buy signal. So don't look down at the quality of the signals, because if you look away, most of the buy signals give massive upside. So arm yourself with a little bit of patience here, because we need to now wait for another bullish cross on the hash ribbons before we can talk about a buy signal. The short-term realized price remains at 63.5. That level should provide strong support if we look into the past performance of all the bull runs in every cycle, and we have so far in our favor the bull market support band that is currently bouncing from 64 almost to 66 at some point today. And if we continue in this trajectory and we complete defining a bullish candle like this, we might see another push to the upside as strong as this one, or this one. Of course, it's not guaranteed. This is a candle in progress. It closes by Sunday. So make sure that you're following me on Twitter. My handle is Trading Parrot and I'll keep you updated. And yes, unfortunately guys, the ETF flows continue to be on the selling. Hopefully we are gonna see some reversal from this. Some people have decided to counter trade the ETF flows because every time they're buying the price goes down and every time they're selling the price goes up. It's not totally clear to me. What seems to drive the price in a much more consistent way, you can laugh at me, but it's the moon phases. Since we started the bull run, you can see that every time we get one of these white phases here, there is a pump, and most of the time we get a blue, there is a little bit of a pullback. At least in all this area until we got to the all-time high that was being respected. When we started doing some sideways, that thing became a little bit less of a fully respected pattern. We had a white here, we went up, then down with the blue, and in this white we didn't go up, and with this blue we actually printed right at the bottom and we started going up. Following that, we went back into the pattern because here we went up and on the last blue we went down. So if you believe that this pattern provides any value, the good news is that we are about to change the phase because every 14 days pretty much we change. So either today or tomorrow we should be seeing a waning phase once again, symbolized by this white moon. And hopefully after that we should see some relief rally. And as I promised, I was gonna let you know once we get a signal coming from the global longs and shorts in the accounts. I have highlighted in the past since January, every time we got a signal, I managed to get the filters that are coming now with high block capital, and I set it to whenever there is more than 70% of the longs in Binance, and now it's displayed in green. And immediately after we come back below 70, we get a buy signal. And today we've been flickering constantly from being above 70 and crossing below 70. So I'm seeing the signal coming in and out all day. So be prepared because I don't know for how long the longs are gonna remain above 70%. But if they cross below 70%, we might see one of these signals in blue. If that happens at the end of the day and we close in blue, I'll be the first one to let you know on my Twitter. Once again, Trading Parrot is my handle. Let's start now with the liquidity because this is going to define how realistic are the targets that we are setting for the upside. Let's have a look what is our caution in case we saw a rejection. I remind you, I never train with 100% certainty because that doesn't exist. What I do is I define what is the most likely scenario, I set my targets. So we are currently trading in this descending wedge and there's plenty of liquidity that we left from all these order blocks to the upside, but of course the most substantial one is still located at 72k. In regards to the fair value gaps, currently we have this one here spanning from 66 all the way to 66.2, a very thin one, and my only worry is if we were to revert on the price might go for this fair value gap and potentially decide that the next target is to take the fair value gap from 64 to 63k, just because it's a fatty one and is very close to the price. That will potentially make us come back inside the pattern of the triangle here. In that case, we will have to call out this breakout absolutely a disaster liquidity grab, a fake out, and potentially we might see lower lows after that. But so far, most of the signals are pointing out towards a relief rally. And whenever we talk about a relief rally, We set expectations based on Fibonacci levels. So far, we haven't even touched the 0382, but a great level that I'm hoping at least we can get is 68K. That is the 50 retracement. And if we manage to get to 69, because it's the golden pocket, and we get above it, that will turn this whole move into a V recovery, and people will start again talking about new all-time highs. I remind you that my land in the sand is to close the daily above 72K, 71.5 to be more precise. So far, we have seen only rejections at those levels. So if we don't manage to close above that, I don't believe anything. In the last days, you can see that the most significant level is at 67.3. That coincides with my first target here, the most conservative one, followed by 70 and 72K. By the time we get to 72K, there will be 7.7 billion in liquidations. If we only make it to 67.3, there will be barely 1.7 in liquidations. Below the price, the most substantial level is 64.7. Let's have a look at the live order book. You can see that people are speculating here to short 66.5 with 700 in liquidity that has grown now to 800. So far, we haven't seen any shorts being substantially liquidated, which is a good signal because so far only longs being punished and the longs are way gone, and now the shorts are getting very cocky at the same time that the open interest has touched my reset band. When we see the open interest starting to pile up right here and we remain with lots of shorts with their positions open, they must be now scratching their heads and thinking, could this new higher low and this higher high, could this new structure here start turning into a reversal point? Well, so far I'm seeing people willing to short this here, and all the support that was at 63.5, 64K now is gone. There's very little liquidity below the price, which is one of the things that I could say are slightly concerning. You can see the same effect when we look at FAR charts here at 60K. That level with 10 million in volume has now been reduced. Interesting that the 70K level has grown in volume. We have the 72K and the 75K. One of the things that are making me slightly more bullish is number one, the level of support that is piling up at 64K, and number two, that we are reducing the volume at the 72K from 78 million to 71. So that is something. If we reduce the percentile to 99, you can see that even though it remains in a very bright yellow, some levels are starting to go away. If you want a bit more of hopium and we look into the 1 month, you can see that the largest whales, the brown and the purple ones, are currently on a trajectory of buying. If you're still in pain with some positions well in the red from all coins, I include myself, I still have my ADA, so I'm looking forward to see this blue area of drawdown to last no longer than it's been lasting during the bull market, which is a period of around 14 days before it starts seeing some relief, and then an area of red where things go hot again and you can manage to get rid of those nasty redbacks. We are for a second day in a row in Bitcoin season at level of 16. We're doing lower lows in these regards, but something interesting is happening with the Bitcoin dominance because we are printing 2 weeks in a row bearish candles towards this resistance at 56%. So it's really intriguing me here if we are really gonna manage to get closer to 60%, which is what I was expecting to eventually see. And since we have lost the momentum on the RSI weekly as well, when applied to the dominance of Bitcoin, I'm still wondering if we're gonna lose this trend line and we might provide some room for the alts to have a decent run after the capitulation that we're having this week. For that, we need to look into what Ethereum is doing. And after the breakout that we had in January that made 3 tests of the breakout and we haven't managed to go above 55, I'm really looking forward to what happens on the first week of July after the ETF, hopefully crossing fingers, goes live, allowing institutions and people to buy Ethereum in spot via the ETF. If we see those inflows and the past performance of Bitcoin is indicative of what could happen to Ethereum, what happened with Bitcoin is we have a period of drawdown of a couple of weeks followed by massive inflows that made the most bullish leg in the current bull market. So if we see that, we can see Ethereum holding above this trend line and starting to go with this trajectory to the upside. Anywhere that we manage to break out and get into this area should provide for the altcoins an amazing environment to follow what Ethereum is doing, not just allowing you to close some of the redbacks, but also to do amazing trades. Guys, I remind you that later today we're going to have a live stream. I have invited as a guest once again Keith from Material Indicators. We're going to look extensively into the order book at all different timeframes to try to understand what is the sentiment from what's really going on in the order book. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.